What is their relation? We are no longer sure. Seems 4 months now we're patient, and Avis is the cure.
Ah, my dear Avis, what a pleasure it is to see you. I have oft thought of our last...
I cannot tarry long. My husband will be expecting me home.
Of course. But, dear lady, is something the matter?
Of course. Do not all your querents come with a matter they wish an answer to?
Well, yes, but...
I wish to ask of the stars whether a man I am close with, a man who is not my husband, whether that man be also close with another woman.
A man you are... I see. Well, if I am to judge the stars for you, I must ask you to be more precise. In what sense do you mean close? The platonic bond of friendship?
Nay, close in the sense of being intimate.
I see. Then 'tis the familial tie of kinship, perchance.
Nay, I mean someone with whom I have shared physical relations.
Verily, madam, if I am to give you an accurate reading, you must state your question clearly.
Methinks you know full well what I ask. I bid you ask the stars whether my lover is, that is to say, be it true that he engages with another woman in acts of strumpy-humpy.
Madam, you astonish me. 'Tis unlike you to speak such indelicate words. Now, if I understand you correctly, you have a lover, and you wish to know whether he has been sharing his tender favours with another woman.
Aye, but did I not verily say so?
And now that we have at last fathomed your question, let us read the stars to fathom an answer. Has Mistress Allen's lover been unfaithful to her? Is as you suspect, madam. Your lover does indeed share intimacies with another woman, one with whom he hopes to father children who bear his name. To wit, he desires something that you, a married woman, are unable to give him.
Then I knew it!
Moreover, according to the stars, what does it say here? Yes, they say the quickening fever of your lover's desire has lately begun to cool. 'Twould seem he now finds relations betwixt you somewhat, well, a trifle dull.
Dull? But you, verily? 'Tis my sister Bridget. Aye, 'tis she, those cow's eyes she makes at you. She has lured you away. Fie upon her, that vile little strumpet!
What? You mean to say it is I you speak of?
Dull? You find our relations dull?
But Avis, pray heed me.
Then how is this for dull?
Cyril Fortescue always has what's new. Far ahead of her friends. She oft gets her hands on goods from foreign lands. That Captain Fortescue sends.
Good morrow, madam. I humbly welcome you to my consulting chambers, and thank you for choosing my practice. Mistress...
Fortescue. Mistress Sybil Fortescue.
Well then, Mistress Fortescue, what may I assist you with this day?
I come upon a most troubling matter, sir. I know not whether it is a medical matter or something else.
I see. Pray describe your trouble to me, madam.
Well, I suppose it all began with a dinner I hosted at my house last even. Mayhap you have heard of my dinners, Dr. Foreman. They are much talked about. Though I fear last evening's dinner will be talked about for all the wrong reasons.
Talked about, you say?
Yes, indeed, invitations to my dinners are much sought after, for I host the most desirable of guests, lords, bishops, poets, explorers, painters, and the like. Why, last eve I hosted the famous Robert Lord Devereux, the playwright William Shakespeare, and the Bishop of London and his wife. As well as fascinating conversation, at my table I serve the very latest and most original dishes. Last even, I served an exotic green vegetable called a potato. So crisp and refreshing. My dear husband sent them home to me from the New World. Doubtless you have heard of my husband, Captain Fortescue. He is a great friend of Sir Walter Raleigh.
I see. Your dinners do sound most excellent, Mistress Fortescue. But what occurred at last eve's dinner that has you so distressed?
Well, in truth, 'twas after dinner. We all felt a strong desire to take some air, and so we left the table to take a turn in some pleasure gardens nearby. But then, as we were walking along the path, right in the middle of the gardens, in full public view...
Pray do not distress yourself, madam. Prithee, take your time.
My guests and I were, all of a sudden, stricken with pain. We began chundering and voiding from our... But there was nowhere to turn, you see. There were no bushes close by to shield our modesty. 'Twas unspeakable.
A moment, madam, as I note this down. Abdominal pain and simultaneous upward and downward purging of a most sudden and violent nature. Now, let us see how these stars explain this most distressing and unsavoury event. What troubled Mistress Sybil Fortescue and her guests last eve? Madam, I think you said the New World vegetables you dined upon were green in colour, did you not? And you described them as crisp and refreshing, I think. I take it then that you served them to your guests green and raw?
Yes, indeed. Most of the potatoes my husband sent me were full dull and unhealthsome in appearance. Hence I served only the green ones. I had my cook cut them in such a way as to resemble roses. 'Tis the way I oft serve my apples.
Ah, then your trouble was a severe case of evil digestion. I have read that these vegetables can be noxious if they turn green.
Oh, my days! Do you mean I poisoned my guests?
In a manner of speaking, aye. But worry not, madam, for the suffering was but temporary. Indeed, it does sound as if the bodies of your guests were most comprehensively purged of the poison. However, in future be sure to cook the, potatoes until they are soft, and pray do not eat the ones that have turned green.
As God shall mend me! What a shameful affair this has been! I shall go home and, well, I shall write to my husband and ask that he includes cooking instructions with the next gift of food that he sends me. I thank ye and bid ye good day, Dr. Foreman.
Here comes a literary mind, one such as we do rarely find. Just needs a man to be behind, for she's but a lady.
Good evening, Miss Lanier. What brings you?
I am come about my future, Dr. Foreman. I wish to know whether I will find success as a writer of poems and plays. You can predict futures, can you not?
You, madam? A writer of poems and of plays? Forsooth, how verily remarkable.
Well, 'Tis true most of us Bassanos and Laniers are musicians, but I have chosen a different path. I've lately begun a collaboration with a poet and playwright. Let us call him Mr. S. He is presently writing a play that takes place in northern Italy, and as I am of Italian heritage, he has asked me to help him write it.
How interesting. And does this collaboration betwixt you go well?
Right well, or so methinks. Indeed, Mr. S did suggest that I am full talented as a writer. Be not afraid of greatness, he told me. For once our play opens upon the London stage, our success will follow, as night follows day.
I see. Then what would you have me ask the stars, madam?
Well, I've noted that Mr. S, although a brilliant man, is oft prone to exaggerated melodrama and implausible plot resolutions. I wish to know whether this story of his, of our future success, is true.
Very wise of you, madam. Then let us see whether your success or failure is writ in the stars. Will Mistress Amelia Lanier find fame and fortune as a writer? It would seem Mr. S.'s confidence is not misplaced, for the stars foretell that if you have faith in your success, you will succeed. And your contribution to the world will reach beyond literature to be of great benefit to society.
So, in order to succeed, I must hold fast to a belief that I will succeed.
Just so, madam.
But what you are asking of me is right illogical, Dr. Foreman. Indeed, 'tis an impossibility. How can I maintain a belief that my success is inevitable when you have just informed me that my success is conditional and contingent? As Aristotle teaches us in
Mistress
his...
Lanier, mayhap I have confounded you with the nuances of my astrological reading. All you need know is that the achievement of your goals is very likely. Indeed, 'tis indicated that your collaboration with Mr. S will be a fruitful one. Prithee, madam, look not for bad news among the good.
Aye, mayhap 'tis best I not overthink it, as you say. I thank ye, sir. Good even, Dr. Foreman.
Mistress Davis Iron, the love of Foreman's life, how futile 'tis to fall for another man's wife.
Good day to you, sir.
Good day to you, madam. What service may I perform for you this day?
For me? None. None at all.
Verily. Then I cannot fathom why you...
'Twas my husband who bade me come, for he finds it difficult to speak of... As I say, he had me come in his stead, and I could think of no reason to give him for why I should not come.
I see. Then what is troubling your husband? Madam, I cannot treat a querent without knowing first what his troubles are.
He is unable to perform his marital duties.
I see. And whatever does that mean? Your husband forgets to put out the night soil? Some broken shelving he's neglected to fix? Prithee, madam, I bid you be more precise.
Oh, you know perfectly well what I mean, Simon. I bid you not drag this out any longer. Pray read the stars and let us get this over with.
As you wish, madam. Now, let us see. What ails Mr. Allen so as to render him unable to perform his marital obligations towards Mistress Allen? It would seem your husband is suffering from a crick in the back. The crick is in the lower part of the back where it is troubling his hips. With such an affliction, 'twould be most difficult to, say, re-thatch a roof, or whatever other chores you would have your husband perform around the house.
I said nothing about chores, as you well know, Simon. 'Tis his duties to his wife I was speaking of.
Well, doubtless his bad hips.
Mr. Allen's hips are perfectly well. Forsooth, I wish he had not bid me come to see you. I knew you would try to vex me in this manner. You always... Why must you...
Verily, Avis, oftentimes you are quite unfathomable. I merely...
Hand me, Simon. I must go to my husband.
Almighty God, lead thy servants forth away from sin and temptation, lest his wife does him an evil.
Good day, Dean Blogg. Fare you well?
Most well indeed, and I will tell you why. The conquering cherub has lately returned home to England.
Ah, this being the voyage you did invest in.
Aye, and what a sound investment it was, for it has paid off most handsomely. The cherub's cargo of nutmeg and pepper will fetch a high price indeed. In sooth, as I recall, it was you who advised me on this investment, was it not? I thank ye heartily for it, sir.
I am glad to have been of service, Dean Blogg.
Forsooth, my earnings have enabled me to make a substantial investment in Sir Walter Raleigh's expedition to the New World.
Ah, methinks I've heard of this. 'Tis a quest to find the fabled lost city of gold, is it not? Or, as the Spanish call it, El Dorado?
The very same. For it is said that El Dorado does lie deep within the rainforests of the southern parts of the New World, hiding vast quantities of gold and precious jewels. Hence, what I would have you tell me is, exactly how rich can I expect to be made from my investment?
I see.
For if I am to be made very rich, I am afeard that news of my fabulous wealth may cause some jealousy among the clergy. News travels fast around the diocese, and I think it wise to get ahead of it if I can.
Then let us consult the stars. What will become of Thomas Blogg's investment in Sir Walter Raleigh's quest to find El Dorado? have ill tidings for you, Dean Blarg. Raleigh and his man have been set upon by a tribe of angry New World natives.
Angry natives? But surely the natives would greet us with much rejoicing. For do we not bring with us the gift of civilization? Would they not crave freedom from their tyrannical chieftains and cruel pagan gods?
Well, it would seem these particular natives cannot be reasoned with, as they are led by instinct alone, and they will fight to the last man, as it is not in their nature to surrender with honor, as Christian men would.
Truly? But...
Alas, I am afeard that Raleigh shall be forced to abandon his search for El Dorado, and your investment will come to naught.
I must own, sir, that I cannot share your uncharitable view of these savages. They may be heathens, but are they not still God's children? I will now take my leave, that you may engage in quiet reflection upon the spiritual dimensions of this question.
When the symptoms are rare and the questions are quit. When the symptoms are rare and the questions are quit. When the melodies are strange and ease that is Ferraro.
Good morrow, sir, and well met.
Indeed, 'tis I, Riccardo Ferraro, come once again to the great Dottore Simon Foreman.
Aye, and I can see why you are come. Methinks you are not well, signor. The colour of your face is quite alarming.
It is because I am losing the blood. The blood does drain away from my face, way down my body, and out of my...
You are bleeding from your fundament. How much have you been bleeding, and for how long?
Un poco, not too much. It does come and go. Sometimes blood, sometimes no blood. You stop the blood, see?
Mayhap I will, but first I must consult the stars to find a diagnosis. What ails Signor Riccardo Ferraro? There is nothing here to worry about, Signor Ferraro. Your body is merely purging itself of corrupted blood, in a similar manner to that which does occur in a woman's nethers each month. To wit, 'tis most healthsome and natural.
Are you sure? Are you sure that is your final answer?
Indeed it is. I do assure you, Signor, 'tis the very latest medical thinking on the subject of hemorrhoids. You are welcome to procure a second opinion, but I warrant you will find that most doctors in London will tell you the same.
Then Riccardo Ferraro bids you good day, Signor Foreman.
This woman has a gift for words. If only she had riches words, they'd probably be much better words. Though written by Our Lady.
see that?
See what, madam?
Your querent, Signor Ferraro, scuttling away from me like a frighted rabbit. What have I ever done to upset the man? All I did was wish him buongiorno as I passed him at the door.
Verily, Signor Ferraro's behaviour does sound full strange. But let us not think of him, but of the matter that brings you hither, Mistress Lanier. How do you fare?
I fare most well, in the main. For you spoke true when you said my collaboration with Mr. S would be fruitful. 'Tis going exceeding well. Verily, Dr. Foreman, I would be right content with my lot at present if it were not for the trouble I am come about this day.
Pray, tell me of this trouble, madam.
I am being prowled. Oftentimes in the night I see him following me home. One time methinks I even caught him looking at me through my window. I would have you tell me who this prowling man might be.
A prowler? How very worrisome. Can you describe this man to me?
Nay, for 'tis always at night that I spy him, and I have always been too frighted for my eyes to linger upon him very long.
Then let us see what light the stars can shed upon the identity of this man who hides himself in darkness. Who is the man prowling Mistress Lanier? The stars suggest that your prowler is a man with a talent for wit, a man who secretly harbours amorous feelings towards you. Does that sound like anyone you know, madam?
Dr. Foreman, I find your question most illogical. I cannot know of a man who harbours secret feelings for me, for indeed, if I were to know of them, the feelings would not be secret.
Yes, well, let me put it another way. Your friend, Mr. S., is the keen-witted man who furtively admires you. He is your prowler, madam.
Mr. S is my prowler, you say? I bid you, sir, check the stars again.
Is it not the most likely explanation, though, madam?
I assure you there is nothing likely about the unique relationship betwixt me and Mr. S. Indeed, he has too much respect for my literary mind to use me so ill. For his is a noble intellect that allows him to soar above the baser instincts of lesser men. Now, if you will not judge the stars again for me, I will bid you good day, Dr. Foreman.
Hear ye! Sir Walter Raleigh fails to find legendary Treasure City. Rumours say next Raleigh voyage is to Pot of Gold at End of Rainbow. Hear ye!
Here comes Emma, so kindly she, to the frail and aged she offers sympathy.
What is she for others?
Especially when they're born of wealth. Here comes Emma, so kind-hearted is she.
Good day to you, Mistress Sharp.
Good day, Dr. Foreman. But I am Mistress Delamere now.
Mistress Delamere? But as I recall from my case notes... let me see now. 'Twas 3 years past. Aye, were you not hoping to marry a man named George Middleton?
Oh, yes, I did marry Mr. Middleton. But not long after we were wed, he fell to his death whilst taking the air atop a church belfry, struck down by his abiding love of late Gothic architecture.
There, my dear lady. How distressing your late husband's death must have been for you.
Aye, indeed, Dr. Foreman, so much so that my friends urged me to marry again, lest I die of grief. But now that I am once more a wife, I would not wish to be widowed anew, and John Delamere, my present husband, is also an older man. Dr. Foreman, you must tell me whether there be any illness he has, whether there be anything I might do to save my dear sweet husband from an early death.
Then let us see what the stars have to say. Is Mr. John Delamere troubled with any condition that may cause him to die? Madam, I am afeard your new husband suffers from a cardiac passion. You must keep him away from anything that may cause him alarm or shock. To wit, changes in temperature, sudden noises and surprises.
Oh, I will, sir, I will indeed. I thank ye for this wise counsel. Good day, Dr. Foreman.
Figures a fine host, of this she will oft boast. She loves to entertain, she loves to entertain. Though hard she does try, her dinners go awry. And in tears and shame,
Good morrow, Mistress Fortescue. How may I help you this day?
I did lately experience feelings of a most strange and disturbing nature, for which I desire an explanation.
I see. Prithee describe these feelings to me, madam. When did they occur?
Last eve, at a dinner party hosted by my dear friend Mistress Emma Delamere. All was well at first, but soon after my arrival I was stricken with a kind of madness.
Madness, you say?
Yes, moments during which I found myself overcome with feelings of mirth, laughing most immoderately at the dullest of remarks made by other guests. At other times I felt an unnatural fascination with the shape of the candelabra in the table's centrepiece. And all the while I was so ravenous with hunger, I quite absent-mindedly ate all the sweetmeats at my end of the table. I fear my rapaciousness did not escape the notice of guests seated beside me.
Such an immoderate appetite is out of character for you, I take it. It could not have merely been occasioned by anxious passions?
Why, nay, Dr. Foreman. Forsooth, I ought to have been very calm last eve, for I did spend the afternoon inhaling the fumes of an aromatic oil, a gift from my sweet husband, sent back from his explorations in the Near East. I did mention my husband, Captain Henry Fortescue, before, I think. He is a great friend of Sir Walter Raleigh. Oh, Henry and Sir Walter find the oil most relaxing, so he tells me.
Yet you were not so very relaxed last eve, I take it.
No, not in the least, for I fear a capricious spell was cast upon me. Over the course of the evening, I developed the strongest intuition that malignant forces were present in the room, and that I had been bewitched. Could it be true, Dr. Foreman? Might a witch have cast a spell on me?
That is something we shall have to ask the stars, madam. Let us see. What was it that afflicted Mistress Sybil Fortescue last eve at dinner? Now, madam, the oil your husband sent you. This was the first time you did inhale its fumes, methinks.
Yes, the shipment of gifts from my husband did only lately arrive.
Then I think we have your answer. I have read some interesting tales of such oils and herbs of the Near East. 'Tis said they occasion certain temperaments, to wit, an excessive sanguinity, which will have caused the immoderate laughter and increased appetite. They can also provoke a narrowing of the mind, which would explain your temporary fascination with the candelabra, and I believe the fumes of this oil may also have been responsible for the notion that you have been bewitched.
And the men of the Near East gain pleasure from this oil? They would render themselves foolish on purpose.
Aye, indeed. Foreigners have many strange customs and desires that we cannot hope to understand.
How fascinating! I thank you for this explanation, sir. Indeed, 'twill make for a most diverting tale with which to regale guests at my next dinner. God give you good morrow, Dr. Foreman.
Another consultation, will this one end in bed? Or will Mistress Allen slap him round the head?
Good day, Mistress Allen. What brings you this day? Oh, dear lady, you tremble like a leaf on an autumn day.
Aye, for I am most affrighted. But Mr. Allen says he thinks I worry over naught, so I am come to you, for methinks you would... Perchance you may help me.
By my troth, Pray tell me of this evil that affrighted you, madam, and I shall do all in my power to protect you from it.
Yes, evil. Oh, indeed, 'tis the very word for it. I have seen a dark figure prowling outside our house in the night, and once I saw him spying through my window. Who is he? What does he want from me? What am I to do?
I see. And you do not recognize his face or any other particulars? The colour of his hair, for instance?
Oh, nay, for 'tis always so dark. But by his silhouette I can tell he is a bony, scrawny little man.
Is he verily? But your husband thinks 'tis naught to worry over, you say?
Aye, he says the man is doubtless naught but a poor travelling tinker who is merely taking shelter in our garden. 'Twould explain why his figure is so slight, to be sure, but what if he is not a tinker? What if his purpose is more sinister?
Aye, indeed. Then let us consult the stars. Who is the man prowling outside the Allen's house in the night, and what is his purpose? The stars suggest the prowler is a secret foe of your husband. Does Mr. Allen have any gambling debts, perchance?
Hold. Methinks I see it now. Ah, 'tis you! The prowler, 'tis you!
Me? How now, madam? What an outlandish notion.
So you would deny it, that you have prowled and spied upon me these last months?
Prithee, Avis, you've got it all.
I will not have it. I am not a thing to be owned. I'm not one of your prized possessions.
I prithee, madam, put that down. Put it...
Ah!
Fie, madam! That was a priceless Venetian vase.
Who is this This man who has earned such acclaim, lately returned from his conquests in Spain. The streets of London resound with his fame. Robert Devereux, that is his name.
Good day, sir. How may I? By Jupiter! Can it be true? Robert Devereux, the Earl of Essex, Lord of Her Majesty's Privy Council, a hero of the Battle of Cadiz.
Prithee, calm yourself, sirrah. Pray, treat me just as you would any other querate.
Of course, as it pleases your lordship. But may I say, what a great privilege it is to... may I offer you a...
You are the man who had some success treating the plague some years past, are you not?
Oh, indeed, my lord. You are very well informed. My strong water did save many a Londoner from a most lamentable death.
Then perchance you might have some cunning cure for me as well, for since I am returned to England upon having resolved that small matter in Spain, I find myself afflicted with the most vexing ailment.
Oh, but your most glorious capture of the Spanish city of Cadiz was no small matter, my lord. All England talks of nothing else. Why, pamphlets recounting your heroic exploits are sold on every street corner in London.
Mayhap they are. I know nothing of them. My single-handed victory against the King of Spain was but a trifling affair, and the least I could do for my queen and a grateful nation. But I fear vast riches and the hearts of many a Spanish beauty were not the only things I did capture while I was there.
What else did you capture in Spain, my lord? I fear I do not grasp your meaning. If you would kindly show me where upon your body you are...
As you see, this Spanish disease I caught has me oozing a most disagreeable substance.
Methinks I have a fair idea of the nature of your affliction, but I must confirm the judgment with a reading of the stars. Let us see, what disease troubles Robert Lord Devereux, the Earl of Essex? You have gonorrhea, my lord. 'Tis a condition provoked by an increase in intimate activities.
Too much strumpy-humpy, eh? Well, 'tis true that since news of my victory got about, every wench from Southwark to Shoreditch wants a piece of my action, as it were. And how may this gonorrhea be cured?
The most effective method is lead plate therapy. Usually this requires a man to lie in bed for many hours with a leaden plate positioned upon his privy parts, thus allowing the lead to impart its healing properties to the affected member. But, of course, men such as your lordship have no time to lie around in bed, which is why... Let me just fetch it from my cabinet. Which is why I invented this.
And that is what? Some sort of wonder job, like the ones old men used to wear?
Precisely so, my lord. 'Tis a codpiece that I had a blacksmith fashion out of lead. I invite your lordship to wear it under your breeches so that the lead may remain in contact with your privy member at all times. Indeed, until you are cured.
How very droll this is. Verily, how old-fashioned. I will appear as hung as old King Henry Tudor. Mayhap I just wear it in my chambers.
Good day, and please come again. If you need anything at all, I am at your service.